The Justin Robert Young program brought to you as always by everybody who supports us at PayJuryDaily.com and the free political newsletter at freepoliticalnewsletter.com. It's a newsletter. Talks about politics. It's free as air. Just head on over there and sign up for it. Never talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JuRY podcast. We do it daily, 4 days a week. We are live here for you, friends. We have College is a Sham week wrapping up. I was going to have a whole other thing about colleges being a sham and more shammy things about colleges, but then I was putting your email into the doc here, preparing for the show, and I'm like, I got enough show. I'd rather not cut one of these emails so I can talk more myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and read what you guys have sent in over the course of the week, because there's some great emails, some very, very good emails. But before we get to that, we do have to keep you informed. Ladies and gentlemen, news! Florida's trying to ruin spring break. This is the story from CNN. Some beach cities are trying to make sure this spring break is the least fun for college kids. Oh, my God. I'm getting annoyed with this lead. Oh, God. All right, here's the lead. The lead is, spring break. Just, oh, my God. I want to kick you out of a 50-story building. You wrote that and you gave it to me and you said, what do you think of this lead? Spring break. I would throw you out of a moving vehicle. Spring break. I would shoot SARS in your eyeball with a super soaker. That's what I would do if you gave me the lead. Spring break. Literally, A-H, comma, spring break. Get the F out of here. We continue with this terrible lead. I can't get over. Spring break. Like, there's no better way that you can typify the fact that this is a story about spring break. You have to go, spring break. Can't you do every story? Can't every story begin with, the topic we're talking about? The Chicago Bulls. Now all I can think of is awful news stories. The Hindenburg. Hit the... All right. I'll be able to get past spring break this time. I will read the rest of this lead. I swear to you. Spring break. The time of year when tens of thousands of college kids head to the beach for fun, sun, and shenanigans. But increasingly, these warm weather locales are giving young partiers a chilly reception. God. I want to spin kick. I've never wanted to spin kick words. Fed up with years of unruly antics and disturbing headlines, spring break destinations have started cracking down hard. Miami Beach has stationed cops and DJ booths. Other cities have enforced beach booze bans, and some have gotten out of the spring break business altogether. Zero tolerance, it seems, is the new normal. We're not going to prostitute ourselves for a buck, Tony Kennan, mayor of Orange Beach, Alabama, told CNN. Miami Beach, where hordes of rowdy youngsters have become a liability to one of the world's top tourist destinations. Their police launched a $30,000 digital ad campaign and sent letters to 300 fraternities and sororities. Its marketing campaign centers around the catchy slogan, "Come on vacation, don't leave." on probation. It lays out the consequences of drinking in public, riding on top of vehicles, or smoking marijuana, a.k.a. arrest. Even so, spring break in Miami Beach kicked off 2 weeks ago, and it's been pretty wild. This is such a useless sentence. It kicked off 2 weeks ago, and it's been pretty wild. Literally, you're a professional journalist. You're a professional journalist, and you're telling me the exact same thing that if I looked up Miami Beach on Snapchat, yo, I'm in Miami Beach, it's pretty wild, yo. They say the same thing. God, stupid article. Just so stupid. I hate this article. I love all these spring breakers so much more than I like this article. A recent video showed a man punching a woman in the face while locals reported women running naked in the streets and violent beach brawls. Police said 97 people were arrested this weekend alone. I'm sure that's really going to deter the kids from coming to spring break in Miami. There's women running naked in the streets, a man punching a woman in the face, presumably clothed, and violent beach brawls. Meanwhile, to avoid being total buzzkills, Miami Beach cops have had to get creative. They turned an old lifeguard tower into a DJ booth which blasts summer anthems to beach revelers. 2 officers who enjoy DJing will be in there. They can also monitor activities on the beach. The officers are out there engaging with the community, doing conga lines. So do they want it or not? Do they want it or not? And of course, these cops, so selfless. Miami Beach police, so selflessly DJing in the booth, certainly not trying to fuck young women on spring break. The message here is that there are rules, says CC Valesco, a Chamber of Commerce board member in Miami. There has got to be balance. Other guests have to be a consideration too. Valesco notes that businesses so far have not been impacted by strict policing of the students. Miami Beach is such a big draw that college kids keeps coming back, no matter the welcome. Meanwhile, this is not the case. And so it goes on to talk about how Panama Beach is, they don't like it. Alabama, South Padre Island, they have shut things down quite a bit when it comes to spring break. Florida has traditionally been a spring break hub. Fort Lauderdale, back when I was a boy, was a gigantic spring break destination. That was like MTV back in the 80s would come down to Fort Lauderdale Beach to show how wild it was. And then one day, Fort Lauderdale said no. And the way that they got the kids out of there, and there still is a spring break, but it is not the wild situation that was there before, is by enforcing hotel occupancies. Like, they made sure that hotel occupancy laws were followed, and that pretty much killed a lot of the fun for spring break. Because ultimately, there is no such thing as a permanent spring break city. It doesn't exist. They regenerate, like the doctor. You know, there's a certain one. You know, I guess when I was going to school, the big spring break destinations, you'd see like Cabo, Mexico would be a big thing. Certainly Florida. Panama Beach, though, more than Fort Lauderdale. Daytona Beach. So the cities bring them in, and all of a sudden they've got, there's a little bit of money. The bars and the restaurants certainly make a ton of money. But then everything else is broken and stained with piss and vomit and shit. And so eventually the city's like, this is gross. Why do I have to clean some stranger's kid's shit off my lawn? And so they ban spring break, and spring break moves on. Because it's there forever. It lives on in our hearts. And in our piss and shit stained mailboxes. All right. Let's go ahead and get into JuRYDaily@gmail.com. JuRYDaily@gmail.com. We are doing all of our College is a Sham emails. Let's go ahead and get to them. Matt writes, I am greatly enjoying your series on college. I am a recent graduate with a technical degree affiliated with Penn State University. I graduated with 5 degrees, a BS in engineering and technology, BS in applied technology, an AAS in CAD technology, an AAS in automotive technology, and an AAS in machine tool technology. I was able to complete all 5 within 6 years by averaging 20 to 24 credits a semester. However, since the school is pay per credit, I was left with $180,000 in student debt. I have no trouble finding a job, but because I have such a specialized education, it's very difficult to communicate to employers my actual value at hiring. I've been working my current job for 10 months with a $61,000 a year salary. While working here, my boss has taken notice to my specialized skills, but has no power to increase my salary. Bureaucratic mumbo jumbo. My thought is this: school is what you make out of it. While in school, there were plenty of people who completed a degree that were virtually worthless. They did not apply themselves and left school mildly better than when they arrived. I propose that companies should be able to pay based on direct performance. Since I have multiple degrees but no higher education, I don't qualify for increased pay based on education. Yet I have more applicable experience than several of the engineers at the company who got a bullshit master's in business and are making over $100K. I would love to know your thoughts. Perhaps I just have not found the right job yet. Matt, life is shit and none of the rules matter. Literally just tell your boss I want more money, I can do more, and see what happens. If they say no, then leave and find another job. Your bosses are not there for you. If your boss makes you happy, it is by accident. You are there to make your own life happy. James writes, college is a sham. I feel like I could recognize it while I was there. And like you say, getting more so with required on-campus housing, meals, and books. But for many careers, it is the only game in town. Your best bet to get the least degree possible, to get your foot in the door at the career you want, and play the game right back at them with scholarship programs, AP credits, and college and high school credits. By the time you've been at your first job for your first month, no one will care about your degree. No one has ever cared. Oh, and literally stop caring about your grades. Honestly. Unless you're going to a master's program, literally none of your grades count or matter past high school. Refractal Studios writes, college has always come across to me as a profiteering operation. While the individual teachers may want what's best for you, the university as a whole is set up to squeeze as much money as possible out of its student body. My brother and sister's first paper they had to write for college was an essay that they had to write as part of their application for permission to live off campus freshman year. That's right. They made them write a "here's why it would be okay for me to live off-campus" essay just because the university stood to lose out on profit from dorm fees. Her graduation ceremony felt more like an infomercial for the university than a celebration of their achievements. And my senior year cost 50% more than my freshman year due to wildly inflating prices. I feel like a big part of this problem is that a lot of people treat college as an extension of high school instead of a totally different animal that it really is. As one of my professors put it, this ain't grade 13. It shouldn't be socially pressured rite of passage on the way to becoming an adult. It is a ramp that you run off to get to the door to reach into your career field. Sometimes you don't quite land where you want, but if you have a target and stick to it, it can set you up for success. If it helps, I'm white and currently working in a field related to my 4-year degree. Sean writes, I wanted to make 2 quick points to broaden the scammer field. I went to Cornell, a combination of a public land grant and a private university. This hybrid system means that Cornell doesn't pay much in taxes to Ithaca, which I hear is gorgeous. As a result, taxes on your non-primary residents are super high. This is a factor for slumlords having to cut costs to run a profitable company. I bought 1 electric textbook. It had an incredible amount of DRM on it. I had to use a specific horseshit program to read it, and I couldn't figure out how to bookmark pages. The page numbers were off relative to the program. It saved me like $30. Had I bought the new textbook, I am convinced that I would have been able to sell the physical book back at the end of the semester for at least $30. That sweet, sweet day where you can forget how much you initially paid but get cold, hard cash in your hands. I forget if I said this on the podcast or maybe in the after show, but that moment where I changed back books that cost me $100 for $25 is what I lovingly used to refer to as my books for pot drive. We go back to Sean's email. There was at least one professor at Cornell that refused to update his textbook when publishers asked. He kept taking a lower and lower cut on the profits until he wasn't making money on it. This kept the price low in the secondary market full of books for his students. I had another professor who published the book Homework Problems versus Version Conversion Chart. 2010 edition, problem 3 equals 2009 edition, problem 2, and 2005 edition, problem 8. All of them were the same. And he took time to give students options, at least people that were fighting the publishers. God, such fucking scam artists. Ben writes, I know people that spent $250,000 on a, quote, prestigious private school degree that they will never use. These students have little alumni connections and no desire to keep in touch with the school that essentially ripped them off. Professors of programs that don't pay well often tell students of the job prospects they will have when they graduate without pointing out that those high-paying jobs are few and far between. Their goal is to keep enrollment high so their department and research keep getting more of the school's budget. At the end of the day, 18-year-olds don't know the value of money, and most don't know what they want to do with their lives. Man, if only there was a junior high school program that taught kids both of those things. Bet you whoever said that would be hailed as a genius. Returning to Ben's email. College is a very expensive way to learn that lesson, and they are surrounded by students and professors who keep saying we are awesome. Jessica writes, an initiative in North Carolina where I'm a library director to address the ridiculous book cost you mentioned in yesterday's show. It is just getting started, but it's already seeing adoption rates across the state and are saving kids money. There's a press release linked to the page with the facts and figures on it. Good. Congratulations to you, North Carolina. That's awesome. Brett writes, wait. Oops. I didn't get Brett's email. I did get Jordan's, though. Jordan writes, I failed 8th grade and sophomore year and eventually dropped out of high school in 2005 because I did not give a shit. I saw the utility of what was being taught but couldn't see the value of sticking around. When I dropped out, I moved halfway across the country and lived with my cousin for 2 months while I started my first job doing structured wiring, coax, phone, Ethernet, home audio, etc. I never got my A+ or Network Plus certifications either. Like high school, it was very valuable information, but it turns out that most businesses I interacted with didn't give a shit. Don't give a shit about them or plenty of the other certs for that matter. It was the experience, knowledge, and referrals that matter, not necessarily the certifications. This was a big city back in 2005 and 2008, by the way, and I was 17 to 20 years old at the time. One day, I happened to get back in contact with an old high school friend of mine. He joined the Navy and was going through training less than 5 miles away from where I was living. He eventually got stationed on a submarine and fucking hated it. Meanwhile, I was fucking fascinated. Working on a submarine? Are you kidding me? A nuclear fucking powered fucking submarine? Zippity-doo-dah. Change of plans. I'm joining the Navy. I spent just shy of a decade serving in the Navy on a fast attack submarine and as an instructor to other submariners. My lower back turned into a shit show, and the Navy ended up discharging me. For years, I had people asking me when I would be getting out of the Navy because they wanted me to come work with or for them. When it came time to actually get out, I had a job offer lined up. Yeah, I didn't come to them. They came to me. There were several options, and I'm now an engineer making 6 figures. I wanted to include this one because the story is really funny, but also because I want to show, if there's any kids out there listening, plenty of ways to be happy in life. Plenty of ways to be happy in life. Even if you feel a little lost, plenty of ways. Ninja Steve writes, first, yesterday you spoke about the cabal of grifters who have set up shop around higher education, and those scams are all real problems, but you left out the biggest, worst, and most odious of these con jobs, for for-profit colleges. For-profits are insidious because they prey on ignorance and poverty. Since we place such a high value on degree programs, disadvantaged people feel that they need college in order to compete with the job market. Oftentimes, these people are in the first of their family to pursue higher education. They don't have an experienced support group to advise them about college options. For-profit schools know this and target their advertising and recruitment efforts toward the disadvantaged. Since these students are less likely to understand the difference between accreditation systems, the average costs and requirements to attend similar programs, and what prospective employers want from a graduating student, for-profit schools can mislead them into enrollment. Now, you can make an argument that some nonprofit colleges do the same, but at least students who procure something more than just debt at a public university. For-profit college accreditation usually does not transfer to any other school, even other for-profit colleges. For-profit colleges often cost 2 to 4 times more than the same program would at a nonprofit school, and depending on the career field, for-profit degrees certifications may not be accepted as adequate training by prospective employers because they are not held in the same corporate accountability standards as the nonprofits. For-profit schools currently offer no more obvious advantage as an education service. Since for-profits are such a terrible alternative to public college, then they are clearly a legalized scam designed to steal money and create massive debt in a sickening and parasitic way for students who are disproportionately disadvantaged. Ninja Steve, I'm going to defend for-profit colleges. I do think that for-profit colleges do offer a benefit. Now, I'm not saying that they are great. I think that they have the same problem. And look, if the juice ain't worth the squeeze on the price, then that's fine. But I will say this: for-profit colleges, at least in my experience, are more upfront about what that's gonna go, what everything's gonna cost than any of the schools that I've gone to are. You do normally at a for-profit college have a little bit more flexibility in terms of where you're going to take the school or where you're going to take the class. They do a lot more online learning, and you don't have the admission process. If you pay, you get in, and that can be an advantage. Now, look, they're just as scummy as everything that you just said, and there's no question that what you wrote was total truth. All I'll say is this: I don't know if there is much difference between for-profit and public schools. Like, I think that there are good for-profit schools. You can certainly get something worthwhile out of a for-profit school. You can get something worthwhile out of a public education. I just believe that for-profit schools get the right reputation, and I just wish that it was shared with public institutions. And finally, Jeff writes, upon hearing your thesis on why college is a sham/scam, I wanted to weigh in on the price and value. You're absolutely right that it is overpriced. The university I work at, like many others, is top-heavy with top-priced administrators and faculty. Couple that with the nationwide trend of decreasing state funding, and it's easy to understand why prices have skyrocketed. Here's how I beat the system. I worked for it, and I still do, and plan to for the foreseeable future. When I began employment with my university in 2012, I immediately qualified for tuition benefits. My benefits allowed me to take 6 credit hours per semester, with tuition and fees to be covered 100%. I was on the hooks for books, but thankfully most professors posted everything online and used texts that were available on eBay for less than $10. My previous employer had less generous benefits, but still allowed me to finish my BA at an extremely discounted rate. Since I started my current job, I've earned a post-baccalaureate certification in business analytics and a master's degree in computer science, and in May, I will complete my master's degree in applied statistics and decision analytics. In total, I've spent about $250 on books, most of which I rented from Amazon. At my university, nearly all graduate students have assistantships that cover the cost of tuition and generate some modest income. I would love to hear your thoughts about on-campus housing. The price of housing has increased from $3,413 from the financial year 1996 to $9,630 financial year 2019. Not much has been updated. It's all the same amenities. How does one justify a 182% increase for the same services a generation later? Why? Because colleges don't care about you. They care about money. They hide behind the idea that people think that a public institution, a noble place, is going to be better for you. And yet, between how much they squeeze you, how much they allow other grifters to also get their turn at your pocketbook, and what they return to you, it is a bad deal. What I would hope for anybody who is listening and anybody who has followed this argument is to just please, whenever you have a conversation with somebody that is contemplating their lives, the youth of America, please try to be as open and honest with them about your experience so they don't have to walk through life crushed under tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. If you don't know what you are going to use that college for, then you shouldn't be there. It's way cheaper just to get drunk by yourself. You could buy your own apartment for what you're going to spend in dorm fees. You could take out a loan if you really wanted to. Take out a $20,000 personal loan, and you'd probably still pay it back faster than you would a Navient or a Sallie Mae or Freddie Mac. Friends, college is a sham. Except for basketball, where the Syracuse Orange will go all the way. Go SU! Go SU! Go SU! Woo! All right. Fuck it. What do you say we just go ahead and do a little segment I like to call High Thoughts? Doesn't tasteless just mean taste the same as air? The hardest part about having a bunch of fake money is having a bunch of not fake money. New fun game. Play along with the documentary Super High Me. Stay sober at the beginning, and then when he starts smoking weed, pause it and go have a joint. Come back and enjoy the rest of it high with him. Have you ever read a Facebook post of your friends, start to comment on it, and then realize they don't care either way, then erase the message? No one ever says cranny anymore. You can find nooks, but never crannies. What is panky? But more importantly, what is hanky? These were high thoughts. I want to thank our producers, the Jen, PD Rave, Non-Specific, Rock and Roll Martian, Joe Acosta, well, James, the OG Brito, well, Matthew B. and Chris, Bill, Dustin, BioCow, Robert H., Brian C., M., Trey the Melodica Man, Adam, Middle-Aged Mike, and Dave. You can email me, jurydaily@gmail.com, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, @JustinRYoung, and you can join our Discord at bit.ly/jurydiscord. Friends, thank you for an amazing College is a Sham week. I will see you all on Monday. Until then, this is your old boy, Justin Robert Young, saying, please don't
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.